So now we got to get into this because you opened up a rabbit hole.
A lot's happened since yesterday.
Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to another edition of A Lot's Happened Since Yesterday. My name is Ralph Busso.
My name is Cody Walker, and my friends, it's so good to have you back. I missed your faces. I missed your fronts. I missed your backs. I missed it all. It's all good. Today we are joined, my friends, by Venrez's own frontman, mastermind, the whole nine. Vin, how you doing, my brother?
I'm doing great, brother. Pleasure to be with you guys.
It's so good to meet you, man. I've been doing some research as we were looking through, and I'm like looking at your guys' history, your background, and what you've been doing. I'm like, oh, we got to go down some roads. Because you, my friend, are you're an LA native, so I want to get into that a little bit because you've seen the changes. But
yeah,
let's get into the band first, because you said something interesting just before we got on that really rung in my ears, and I had meant to ask you. You said to me that your bass player's in Brazil, your drummer's in France.
Yeah.
So how the hell do you build a band from that many parts of the world and keep it going like you do?
Well, about 4 years ago, I just wasn't really happy with the rhythm section. There's things about bands, you want to have all cylinders going. So you want the recording, you want to be able to record great stuff, write great stuff. You want to put on great shows, but you also want to tour together.
Right.
Being together on a bus or in a band, it's rigorous. And so I made a change at rhythm section. I decided to go younger, better looking, and actually great players. So Gabe Masca on bass was making a big name for himself on the Sunset Strip. He's from Rio de Janeiro, but he's got a 10-year green card. He's just applied for citizenship.
Hell yeah.
And then I brought in, he was 26 when he joined the band. He's 29 now. And then Victor Singer was French. Yes, he was recommended to me by a top producer, and he was 25 at the time. So when COVID hit, he had to go back to France because he was on a work visa, and he could only work doing music. So so he is in France, and we're probably going to go. Everybody will be back in town about the 25th of April, and we'll start going into rehearsal every day, getting ready for, there's going to be a tour coming up in, sometime in late May, early June.
Okay. How good does that feel to get back at it?
Yeah, I don't know, brother. I haven't been on stage in 2 years,
Yeah.
Wow.
We toured the end of 2019. The band had just really come together. Those kids they were on fire. We were writing a lot of great music. We had some major labels interested in us. And we did a great New Year's Eve show at the Whiskey A Go-Go. And then we played the Whiskey again on March 4th with Sponge. Another great show. And 13 days later, the entire country was shut down. So
that was a weird time, man. That was weird.
It's really been weird, but everybody was here in LA. So, Victor's got his work visa back in order. Gabe went down to Brazil because he wanted to celebrate his parents' birthdays. They're close together. And we're not going to be touring till, late May, early June anyway. And so that's pretty much the current situation. Although, prior to COVID, we were touring and rehearsing quite a bit.
Right on. I actually really dig your rhythm section, what you have right now. I think it's pretty solid. So Gabe is a good bass player. You know what I mean? And I like you guys' sound is very like I couldn't pinpoint anybody that I could compare you to be honest with you. I was just like, this is cool. This is different. It's got its own vibe. You know what I mean? I wanted to ask you about the picture behind you. The one that's framed right there, right behind you. What is that all about?
Okay. You mean Jim Morrison?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it is
Oh
Jim.
my
Oh,
God. Is that Jim?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
I couldn't
Jim.
even oh, there he is.
Holy
Yeah,
shit.
it's Jim.
Yeah.
that's
Shit,
a great design.
That's
It's
a badass.
kind of like a psychedelic painting of Morrison. I have a lot of wall space in my house, and so there's a lot of pictures hanging on a wall of, you know, past shows we've done, tours, and of course rock stars I admire. Yeah, and Jim Morrison's somebody I admire quite a bit. He's definitely someone who influenced me as a performer and songwriter, along with John Lennon and Bob Dylan.
Yeah, very, very cool. Bob Dylan, how did he inspire you? Just
Well, as a song, you know, as a songwriter, I write the lyrics. Jason Womack, my guitar player, he writes the music, and he also does backing vocals. And you know, yeah, I got lucky. It was, and I guess so did he. It was a magical connection. We write flawlessly together. Our harmonies are great. I mean, just him and I together with him on an acoustic guitar is really something special.
yeah.
That's
down.
it's a very rare thing to find somebody you meld with like that so well, isn't it?
It is. If you go to YouTube and you put in Love Dance by Venrez, Venrez, I mean, it's like 1992 MTV Unplugged. You should check that out. And all of you, you know, if you just want to see what we do and we strip it down, just the two of us. But, you know, I'm glad, Ralph, that you like this rhythm section, because we've always had great players, but we've never had the chemistry. And, you know, we have that now. This is the best version of Venrez. Although, you know, in Scotland, they call me the 21st century Lizard King, because my baritone kind of, you know, it's very similar to Morrison, Lane Staley, Chris Cornell, that type of thing.
Yeah.
It's interesting, Ralph, because you're the first one to ever say, you know, when you have a new band on the rise, the first thing people try to do is compare you to somebody. And yeah, I really liked what you had to say when you said that you couldn't really compare it to anything. It's kind of like you think for a minute it's something you've heard before, and then you realize quickly you haven't.
No,
Yeah.
you guys have an original sound. You specifically, your vocals are, I can't pinpoint you to anyone. So you know what I mean? But it's but you're obviously a great singer and a professional, and I love the music and the sound. That beginning opening in the bass riff, it's so cool,
Yes.
man. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff really gets to me, you know, because I play bass too. So when I hear that kind of rhythm section, I'm like, yes, here we go. And then you came out and I was like, oh, this is mysterious. This guy doesn't really sound like anybody I know, but it's very cool. So
mysterious is something I like. Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great thing, because
no.
these kids were playing. They were playing songs recorded by other players. And once we got done with that tour here, the last quarter, 2019, we started writing all our own songs together. And Gabe came up with that bass line. So it's really interesting that song got us the record deal with Pavement out of Chicago, actually.
Yeah, I
And,
could see that. That's a good song.
Yeah, it's a good song.
And it's the first song the whole band knew, you know, this version wrote together. And it's the first radio single the record company picked, and it's doing really well on Billboard and Foundation. So that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, with everything going on right now with COVID, tell me your honest opinion of where you think the future of music is going. I gotta ask
I think
you.
it's just over, bro. I mean, you know, I've got some friends touring Italy right now. They're texting me like it's great. Everybody's coming. You know, shows are packed. Everybody's eating and drinking. Seems to be the same thing in the UK. I think the rest of Europe's coming around. You know, the United States is wide open. Los Angeles has just pretty much dropped the mask mandate. You know, all they're talking about is the war right now. I think COVID is a past situation. It might be 2023 before you can really do, you know, worldwide tours. I don't know. South America may not be doing that great. I don't know about, you know, Australia is another issue.
Right.
And you know, Southeast Asia, Japan, you know, Indonesia, etc. Although I think, yeah, the Stones have dates booked in June for Europe. Aerosmith canceled the summer tour. You know, who really knows? But the United States is wide open, and I think that we'll probably tour the USA first. I wouldn't be surprised if we get back over and do some Euro countries as well. I feel very confident about it. I don't even think about it anymore.
What's your more favored market for you? Like, what do you prefer to play? Do you prefer to play the States, or do you prefer to be out in?
Yeah,
I really don't
that's
care.
a good question.
You know, I mean, I really don't care. It's rock and roll, and you know, we've been around a while. Although now that we got a record deal in April of last year, it's basically like we're just beginning. So we're a new band, and with this rhythm section, we're a new band. So, you know, the reality is, really, our new band is just beginning now. So we're out there to make as many fans as possible. And I really don't care where I play. It's all rock and roll. And I've played in many different countries. I love touring the United States. American rock fans are great. I can't really say that anybody are better fans than others. You know, the Latinos are, they get a little more spicier, you know, Spain and Italy. You know,
They like those hot chili peppers.
Well, yeah, I just, you know, I think, you know, like I haven't been able to tour South America or Mexico yet, but you know, in Spain and Italy, they just seem to be a little bit more enthusiastic than any other country, just a tad more.
That's pretty cool, man. It's great to get that insight from you because, you know, people don't know, you know, the average person doesn't know where their favorite rock band is getting the most attention and getting the most love. You know what I mean? So it's cool that you brought that insight on us. That's
Before we move out of this little subject, let me say one more. How much different is it logistically? Like, not travel wise, but you know, you go through the ropes. You got to be there at the sound check at a certain time. You know, you got to be on stage at the Whiskey to do such and such. You're on for this long. You get off. Is there any differences in that kind of logistics between here and over in Europe?
Well, I mean, you know, the United States has much vaster distances. So if you got a tour bus, you know, it's not really much of an issue. For the most part in Europe, you're not looking at more than a 3 to 5 hour drive. Although, you know, we were not headlining, we were like support or third up. So it really kind of depends on if you are not the headliner, who you're touring with and how their agent, you know, routes the tour.
Right.
Because, you know, I've had a couple tours over there where there were a couple 18 and 20 hour, you know, drives, and those are no fun. That's for sure.
Yeah.
You know, and you're in a van, you know, because at that level, tour buses are not in our price range. They are. I have more favors here I can pull for that. But I think overall, there's not really much of a difference because here you got a nightliner, so you're asleep. And you wake up, you know, when they roll in to unload in sound check. And in Europe, it's a little bit different. You know, you're in a hotel room and then you do the drive and you get there, you load in sound check, have some dinner. And there's not really much of a difference, except but you're in a tour bus as opposed to a van in a hotel room. Well, it's just that the 18-hour drives will kill you, though.
Oh my
Oh, I'm sure
gosh.
they
Oh
will.
my
Let
gosh.
me ask you something real quick, bro, because I want to know, since you've been doing all this touring around the world, really, and that's, you know, we're going to get some good insight from you on this. Are the Europeans a little bit more generous when it comes to buying merch and supporting the band on a monetary level? You know what I mean?
No, it's really about the same.
Really?
Our last USA tour was the last quarter of 2019, and I brought merch for 24 shows. And I mean, after 5 shows, we had nothing.
Oh, wow.
We sold out everything we had in 5 shows, and I've never done that in Europe. Never sold out everything that I've had. I mean, when we've done a 4 or 5 week 22 to 26 show tour, we've been really low as we went into the last few shows, but I've never sold out everything anywhere after 5 shows except for the USA. England and Scotland, they buy an awful lot of merch, but some of the other countries, people are having a really hard time. So, it's tough for them to, they want to spend their money on, they buy a ticket and they want to spend most of their money on alcohol. So like in Italy and Germany and Spain, Belgium, France, the merch sales are not what they are in America or the United Kingdom. That's
Really?
absolutely, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and I don't think it's their fault, really.
Yeah, they only have so much money.
It almost
and
makes sense that if you're gonna go tour that way, you should come up with like a custom Venrez drink, like a shot of some sort, and just sell it at the bar. There's your merch money.
No shit.
I'm trying to come up with some innovative ideas. We'll see. I have some new ideas. We're going to be designing. I took down my whole merch line on the site. We just have our 4 previous indie records there that you can buy individually or as a bundle. I mean, we're in the process of designing a whole new merch line, and I have a couple tricks up my sleeve when we go on tour that might get more people over there to that merch table. The bottom line is, if they really dig your set, they want to come over and talk to you and meet you, and they start and they buy things. So
yeah, that's true.
That's the secret. But some of these countries, the economies are really bad, and it's really hard for them. I mean, to buy a ticket and have enough to buy 2, 3 drinks is maybe all they have.
Yeah,
which is fine with me.
Yeah, that's laying it down pretty realistic.
Well, what I love about these conversations that we have, and I love the fact that Vin is so open about it, is not a lot of people just straight up go, this is really how the industry works and what you have to consider as a musician. It's not just, hey, let's get up and rock. You do got to kind of think of this shit as you go, because logistically it can fuck you, can it?
Absolutely. I mean, merch sales, it's a big thing. Yeah, I mean, it really adds that the extra income on the road that bands need. But I don't care. I don't care if I come back broke and I don't make anything. I'm out there to make music. I'm out there to make fans. When I take that stage, I'm in a place, the happiest place of my life. It's kind of hard to describe. When I leave that stage, I've left everything, all of my energy and heart and soul. I'm thoroughly exhausted when I leave that stage, no matter whether I've done a physical performance or not. It's just from the soul out. And I just love doing it and connecting with the audience. So it's just never really been about money for me. I don't believe it ever will be.
Fuck yeah, dude. I absolutely love that. I don't even, I'm just gonna let that sit where it sits, man, because that was beautiful.
Horns up.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, I've always said I'm the only one who doesn't get paid, which has been true. My band gets paid. Yeah.
You can't put it better than that, my friend. That was awesome. And if somebody out there that loves music doesn't appreciate what you just said, well, fuck them. Anyways,
Well, it's all about the fans, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really? I mean,
Yeah.
I think that, don't you think a lot of artists miss that? You're
Yeah.
there to give them everything you got, because, you know, if they're not buying tickets and they're out there, you got no damn career. What are you going to do? Play to empty ashtrays?
Yeah.
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 You know, without fans, there's no rock and roll. I think a lot of artists completely lose sight of that, especially the ones that make it when they're young. They forget how they got to where they were. It doesn't matter how good you are. You know, if nobody buys a ticket, shows up, you know, it's all
Yeah.
about the fans. There is no rock and roll without the fans. Period.
Absolutely. Yeah, and if you haven't found a way to make that connection, you're running short. You have to. You can't half-ass it.
You'd be surprised how many successful bands and musicians have really lost sight of that. It's sad to say. You know, I'm not going to mention names. I've toured with a lot of people.
Right.
Although, you know, I'll stand out there all night and sign stuff for people. You know, I'll do what you want to do. But, you know, you can't chat with 20,000 people online. You know, that's kind of not possible.
Yeah.
You know, go out of your way to diss fans that leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
So what do you think about social media? That's I mean, we're talking about a topic that kind of ties into that. What are your thoughts on that? Is that something that you're engaged in, or is this something that you're not too?
Well, we wouldn't have got to where we were unless I did. You know, nobody else can be me. I'm pretty good at marketing and connecting with fans. So, you know, when we started it, I spent virtually 8-9 hours a day, every day,
Ooh.
on social media. Now, when I made a post, you know, hundreds and hundreds of people would respond. You know, now I have people who kind of really assist with it, because it's just reached a point where it's impossible for me to do it all myself. Social media is a very important part of it. It really is. The thing is my fans know whether it's me or it's not. You know, that's part of the trick. So, you know, now when the band started, you know, I mean, it was like you had MySpace, and then Facebook came. Then we got, I don't know, 380, 400,000 followers on Facebook, but, you know, then it switched to Instagram. So I think like now, you know, Instagram is a real vehicle. And then if you make it, the way you can connect with everybody, you know, is like on Twitter.
Right.
So that seems to be where it's at. And a lot of famous musicians, yeah, they're only on Twitter.
Well, let me ask you this, because Ralph and I have had this discussion a little while. I am still trying to learn the social media game. I mean, we run this podcast, but after that, I'm still like, I don't really post that much personally. I know I probably should be, but we've had this discussion where it's like, it seems that Instagram is flooded with like cosplay girls, fitness models, you know, and how is it just because that's where most people are, so you want to be present in that climate, or do you have a strategy as a musician?
Yeah, not anymore. You know, I mean, you're talking about if you're an independent band and you're looking to get a record deal, you know, you're getting out there and you're trying to make things happen. They look at your numbers, you know, these record companies.
Yeah.
You know, and right now, the first thing they really look at strongly, you know, is, you know, how many people are following you, you know, on these social media platforms. Because it's risk and reward, you know. I mean, it costs a lot of money to record records, put it out, tour. You know, I mean, we're a 4-piece, but, you know, it costs a lot of money to put a 5-piece rock band, and most of them are 5 pieces, and much fewer are 4 and 3-piece. But there's not much difference in the cost. I mean, you're talking about, for a 5-piece rock band, major tour in the USA, with a tour bus, 5-piece tour manager, you know, you're talking $50,000 to $70,000. So, you know, record companies they got to have a way to recoup, you know. So it's become much tougher.
Yeah.
Well, okay, you. So now we got to get into this, because you opened up a rabbit hole. What about these bands that are using companies to fake their numbers? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, they know, I mean, it's just a really big mistake. And all you do is you really screw yourself if you do that. The labels know, they really know. The problem with music is, there are no shortcuts, bro. When I heard Nirvana, I'm like, wow, where did these guys come from? And, it was their fifth record, and it took them 6 years to get a deal, and they busted their ass till they did that. Green Day spent 3 years touring in a VW van. So did Jewel. And people don't really realize that. And today, it's like it'd be 10 or 11 years. Not everybody's lucky like Greta Van Fleet or my bandmates Plush, where you're in your early 20s and you have people behind you and, Elton John behind you and things of that particular nature. You can count that on 3 fingers.
Right.
So.
What are your thoughts on that? I mean, I'm curious, as a musician that has done a lot of stuff that and has, been in the industry for a while and has success, but has seen other people flourish beyond, because that's the same case for me and Cody. What I mean? We've watched other musicians flourish beyond us. I'm wondering what your thoughts are on that, like Plush. I mean, yeah, they're a great band. The girl's got a great voice, and the whole band is a good-looking band, and they've got a great sound, and they know how to write songs, and maybe they've been helped along the way. But I want to know what your opinion is. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, they're my label mates. We're on the same label. That girl can sing.
Yes, she can. Yeah.
The players can play the parts pretty well. They're just going to get better. The singer carries the band, in my opinion, for now. I think it's the same thing with Greta Van Fleet. I love seeing new bands, that are 20-something and early 20-something, just killing it. I mean, when Greta won a Grammy for Best Album, and all these people were dissing him, and you're a Led Zeppelin ripoff and trying to sing like Robert Plant. And I'm like, what the heck? Everybody's lost sight of everything. Here are these kids in their 20s getting a damn Grammy, and they're selling out shows. And, so I think Plush and Greta Van Fleet show all the young musicians, the ones that are 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, that really want to be musicians. I think they give them that shining light. Rock is not dead.
Yeah.
And Plush and Greta Van Fleet prove that. I prove it's never too late. So
that's a good point. It's never too late. Yeah. No, absolutely, I agree with you, brother. Dude, it's great to get your insight, dude. You know what I mean? Because honestly, there's a lot of people that don't understand, like you were saying, the music and how it works with bands and artists that are trying to make it. That a lot of people don't know the struggle. And so it's great to get your insights on it. What's the future for you? What's your plan?
Well, right now, I've always wondered what would happen if we had a good label behind us and we had commercial radio support. We've never had that. I think if we did in the past, we probably would have done well, although I believe God has a plan and things always happen the way they're supposed to and when they're supposed to. And so we just finished our 4th week. Our first week on radio, we were the most added to Billboard and Foundation. In the second week, we were in the top 10 of the greatest gamers. And so finishing, the chart each week finishes on Tuesday. So yesterday was the end of the 4th week. And we moved up 12 spots with a whopping 81 spins to number 34 on Foundation. So we're top 40 there.
Hell yeah.
We moved up to 49 from like 63 on Billboard. And there's 4 more weeks to go. So it looks like Show Me is being received quite well by fans and commercial radio stations. So management is building a press kit right now. We're in talks with primarily, Jerry Cantrell, Papa Roach, and actually Greta Van Fleet for touring. We can headline overseas, and we'll be talking to some promoters over there. It's just, the COVID situation, it depends. You can't just go over there and do like 15 shows. You're going to lose money. So we'll have to wait and see. The thing that's funny is, my label's all for touring with Greta Van Fleet. I'd love to tour with those kids. They're the new old school, nude school.
Yeah.
And we're the new old school, real old school. I think it would be a great show.
Yeah.
You guys would fit well. Like, well, they might skew too young. And I'm like, Jesus, man, 14 to 70-year-olds who like rock and roll dig Greta Van Fleet. But I just don't believe in the age thing. I get the Jerry Cantrell, Alice in Chains thing because, we have the two-part harmonies and all of that. So there's a little battle going on. I really don't care. I think whether, Papa Roach should be very different. Whether, Jerry Cantrell would be an honor. Papa Roach should be a lot of fun. Greta Van Fleet would be an awful lot of fun. Who knows? It could be us, Bush and Korn. I'm not really quite sure yet.
Well,
I think that would be a great show. So I think management's going to wait about 2 or 3 weeks. They think we're going to finish between 15 and 18 in Billboard top 5 in Foundation, and sometime between mid-May and mid-June, we'll be going out with a big name band, and we'll make a decision to go out with someone where that we match up well with, who we can play to as many people as possible. That's pretty much what we're looking to do.
I think it'd be cool to see you guys with Greta Van Fleet. I do.
Yeah.
I think that'd be cool. I think it'd be a good mix. I can tell you dig that old school vibe that they're having right now, and to be honest with you, yes, some of their stuff sounds exactly like Led Zeppelin to me, but I've also been noticing that they can venture out. You know what I mean?
Look at the 80s guys.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a lot of high vocals that don't sound that much different.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
I really dig them. What I love about them is, they're a new band, but they come out in like 70s vintage clothes. And I've got 60s and 70s vintage clothes that blow their shit away. I weigh the same as I did, when I was 18, and I have all those clothes still. I got one heck of a wardrobe. If I tour with them, I might just come out in my late 60s, harmony pants like Janis Joplin's guitar player. And 60s, 70s meets 70s, 2022. Whatever God planned, I'm okay with.
I got one last question for you, bro, because I can tell you're one of those dudes that I can just have a conversation with. You know what I mean? Realistic.
Well, I got some good Irish whiskey, so I'm good to go. Some single pots, my meaties.
Nice. Cheers, bro. What are your honest thoughts about musicians that are coming into, God, I don't know how to put this, but they're coming into their best game career-wise later on in their life? They're not kids anymore. They're not Greta Van Fleet. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what happened with me, man. I used to call it a beautiful accident, but it's really like divine intervention. For example, we were really on fire at the end of 2019, coming into 2020. We were about to sign with Universal and the world was opening, and then boom, nothing. So in early April of last year, I decided to quit. I just was going to turn another year older. My birthday's on January 21st. And I didn't want to go into 2022 feeling like, I got accomplished where I should have been a year and a half ago. And so Jason was coming over. I record all my vocals here. I have a recording studio over here. I always have. I never go in the studio. I do all my vocals here. So I was dreading all night, telling him I quit. So I was downstairs having a cigarette. He sent me a text, hey, come up, I'm bouncing the track. So I came up. So he's got his computer to my right. You can't see it. Behind you is my computer. I log onto my email. There's a record contract from Pavement. So there was some real divine intervention. And then my drummer couldn't come over because of COVID. The European Union wouldn't let any of their citizens leave. And I made a few phone calls, and the next thing I know, my friend Stephen Perkins, the drummer for Jane's Addiction, came in. So he actually drummed tracks 2 through 5. Victor Singer is only on track 1 and 6, by the way. So Stephen Perkins from Jane's Addiction drummed tracks 2 through 5. Tracks 1 and 6, Show Me an ATM Machine, with Victor Singer. So there's some more divine intervention. I've proved that it's just never too late. With me, I had some friends I'd known for many years. They didn't know I could sing. I had a band when I was like 18. Everybody flaked after a few months. I just blew it off because, here in the valley of LA, talking about, with Cody about being a native, there isn't Liverpool. It's like, it's not like you just got this wealth of musicians. So I'm like, okay, that's over. Flash forward many years later, my friends found out I could sing. I looked at it as a friggin' hobby. They wanted to play a show. I'm like, I'm too old. Yeah. And because I started the band at 54, actually. I did my first tour at 55. And they tricked me into doing a show at the Key Club. And next thing I knew, I was on tour with LA Guns, and then Alice Cooper called, and then Fuel called, and then Slash called, and then Buck Cherry called, and now I got a top 40 hit on radio, and here I am talking to you.
That's so
I never planned for.
That's so inspiring, dude. I can't
no shit.
It's like all I can say is it doesn't matter. It's a different world today. It doesn't matter how old you are. There are no rules. No matter, if you're watching a show, it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter what you look like. It's all about the music. There's no rules in rock and roll today. So, if you want to go out there and get it done, if you knock on that door long and hard enough, it'll open. Just be relentless, never give up your dreams. If you believe everything is possible, I'm proof of it. I have it tattooed right there. So I never forget it. Right on my
Very
Fuck
cool,
yes.
dude. Ladies and gentlemen, what a great conversation we have with this gentleman right here. This man is a gentleman and a scholar, and he's a rock star. I'm going to tell you right now. So
in every sense of the word. In every sense of the fucking word.
In every sense of the word, he is a rock star.
I'm a humble poet.
Dude, it's so good talking to you today.
Absolutely.
But I can tell you, it's been so much fun, and we got so much information from you that we don't get from other artists because they don't have your experience. So I really appreciate having you on, dude. Thank you so much, dude. You rock.
It's been my pleasure, and thank you. I love doing your show. You guys are awesome.
You are welcome back anytime, my brother.
Anytime,
this
bro.
was
Your
a
music is
very,
awesome.
very inspiring conversation. I really, really appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then let
yeah.
me do a real quick plug.
100%. You can do a
Okay,
long
go
plug
for
if you
it.
want to, dude. It's all you.
Absolutely. dude.
It's pronounced Venray, but it can also be Venrez. So what you want to do is go to Venrez, VENREZ, theband.com. Again, VENREZ, theband.com. Join our email list, and you will know everything going on with us. We do giveaways. We do private stripped down acoustic shows for contest winners. So that's what you want to do, is be on our email list. So that's how you find out everything going on with us. Forget social media. Just sign up to our email list.
Old school email lists.
I got quite a few people on it, but really that's the best way to know about everything. Because unless you're I mean, it's better to do that and have advance notice of everything. I can't communicate with everybody.
Yeah, you don't have enough
Right,
time.
right.
Yeah, you don't have enough
It's
time
like,
for that.
you were just in our town with Buck Cherry. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to feel that way, then just join our email list.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, go join their email list. What was the website again?
Venray or Venrez, VENREZ, theband.com.
Okay, don't forget to put in the band.com, guys.
Links
Check these
links will
guys
be in
out.
the description. Go down
Links
there and
will
get
be
them.
in the
If you need them,
description.
we're going to put them all down there. Everything is good. You fucking heard them, ladies and gentlemen. Get over there and support Venray. Call it Venray, Venrez, whatever you want. But if you're a real fan, you'll call it Venray. That's what I'm saying.
That's true.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
So
true.
go support Venray. They are fucking killing it. Vin is an inspiration. Take notes. Learn from the best motherfuckers. Vin, thank you so much for joining us, man.
My pleasure. Thanks a lot,
brother.
you guys. It's been a lot of
Cheers,
fun.
bro. Cheers, bro.
Cheers.
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 All right, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Be good humans. Like Vin is, always fucking forward. Don't ever stop.
Always fucking forward.
Peace.
Peace.